Hi, welcome to another episode of Strategic Insights, providing you with the latest update in the areas of business, technology, and management. I'm your host, Dr. Martin Lockstrom. Let's dive in.
Imagine a mighty dragon once soaring high, now struggling to stay aloft. That's China's economy today. A tale of unexpected twists that affects us all. Buckle up, because this story is wilder than any roller coaster you've ever ridden. Just 5 years ago, the world watched in awe as China's economic dragon breathed fire, scorching past competitors. The question on everyone's lips: when would it overtake the US? As the world's largest economy, the Middle Kingdom seemed unstoppable, a juggernaut of growth and innovation that had lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty and reshaped the global economic landscape. Cities sprouted from farmland like mushrooms after rain, gleaming skyscrapers pierced the clouds, and high-speed trains crisscrossed the country at mind-boggling speeds. The world marveled at China's ability to turn ambitious plans into concrete reality in the blink of an eye. It was a new economic superpower flexing its muscles, and the rest of the world scrambled to keep up. But as we've learned time and time again, the only constant in life and economics is change. Fast forward to today, and that burning question of global dominance has transformed into something far more ominous. Can China avoid a lost decade like Japan's infamous economic stagnation? The dragon that once soared now seems to be caught in a downdraft, wings flapping frantically to regain altitude. Youth unemployment is skyrocketing, real estate is crumbling, and middle-class families are feeling the pinch. It's a stark reversal of fortunes that has left economists scratching their heads and investors biting their nails. But wait, plot twist. Enter Xi Jinping with a stimulus package that sent shockwaves through the financial world. Suddenly, China's stock market erupted like a long-dormant volcano. Blue-chip stocks soared 15% in a week, the biggest gain in 16 years. Billionaire investors like David Tepper jumped in, shouting they were buying everything China-related. Is this the comeback of the century? Or are we watching a mirage in the economic desert? Stay tuned, because the answer might surprise you. Let's peel back the layers of this economic onion. While the stock market parties like it's 1999, the average Chinese citizen isn't popping champagne. Why? Because the real estate market, the bedrock of China's economy, is crumbling faster than a sandcastle in a tsunami. We're talking about $18 trillion in lost household wealth. That's like every three-person family in China losing $60,000 overnight. Imagine your house, your biggest investment, suddenly worth half of what you paid. Would you be in the mood to go shopping or start a business? That's the dilemma facing millions of Chinese citizens right now. The real estate crisis is more than just numbers on a balance sheet. It's a visceral, emotional blow to the Chinese dream of prosperity. For decades, owning property has been seen as the ultimate symbol of success and security in China. Parents scrimp and save to help their children buy homes, often seeing it as a prerequisite for marriage. Now that dream is turning into a nightmare for many. Ghost cities, once hailed as visionary projects anticipating future growth, now stand as eerie monuments to overambition. Rows upon rows of empty apartments, their windows dark and lifeless, serve as a stark reminder of the excess that fueled China's growth. Even with a population of 1.4 billion, there simply aren't enough people to fill all these vacant spaces. But surely the government's stimulus will fix everything, right? Well, not so fast. Here's where our story takes another dramatic turn. While the stock market is doing the cha-cha, youth unemployment is breakdancing at a record high 18.8%. That's nearly 1 in 5 young people unable to find work. The result? A generation delaying major life decisions like buying homes or starting families. It's a demographic time bomb ticking away beneath the flashy headlines. Picture a bright young graduate, diploma in hand, dreams fading as they move back in with their parents. Now multiply that by millions. That's the hidden face of China's economic struggle. These young people, born into an era of unprecedented growth and opportunity, suddenly find themselves facing a future far less bright than they were promised. They've done everything right, studied hard, graduated from top universities, mastered English and coding, only to find the job market has no place for them. The impact of this goes far beyond individual disappointment. It's a societal shift that threatens to upend China's carefully laid plans for the future. A generation that delays marriage and children means a further aging population, increased pressure on social services, and a potential shortage of workers to support the elderly in the coming decades. So we have a booming stock market on one side and a struggling population on the other. It's like watching a magician perform the ultimate illusion. But as any good detective knows, the real story is often hidden behind the curtain. And that's where you come in, dear viewer. What do you think is really going on? To understand the full picture, we need to zoom out and look at the broader context of China's economic journey. For decades, China's growth model was based on massive investments in infrastructure and manufacturing, coupled with an export-driven economy that flooded the world with affordable goods. This model worked wonders for a time, lifting hundreds of millions out of poverty and transforming China into the world's factory. But like a car that's been driven too hard for too long, this economic engine is showing signs of wear and tear. The easy gains have been made. Low-hanging fruit has been picked. Now China faces the challenging task of transitioning to a more sustainable, consumption-driven economy. It's like trying to change the engines on a plane while it's still flying. A delicate and potentially dangerous maneuver. Adding to the challenge is China's demographic time bomb. Thanks to the one-child policy, which was in place for decades, China's population is aging rapidly. The country is growing old before it grows rich, a predicament that few nations have successfully navigated. But let's not count the dragon out just yet. China has a history of defying expectations and overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds. The country's leaders are well aware of the challenges they face and are not sitting idle. The recent stimulus package is just one piece of a larger puzzle. Behind the scenes, there are efforts to reform state-owned enterprises, boost innovation in key technologies, and strengthen China's position in global supply chains. Moreover, China's vast domestic market remains a tantalizing prospect for both local and international businesses. With a middle class larger than the entire population of the United States, there's still enormous potential for growth in consumer spending. The government is also doubling down on initiatives like the Belt and Road Project, seeking to create new trade routes and expand China's economic influence across Asia, Africa, and Europe. It's a bold, ambitious plan that could reshape global trade patterns for decades to come. But these grand plans face significant headwinds. Geopolitical tensions, particularly with the United States, threaten to disrupt trade relations and technological cooperation. The ongoing tech war between the two superpowers could hamper China's ambitions in cutting-edge fields like artificial intelligence and quantum computing. Then there's the question of debt. China's economic miracle has been fueled in part by a massive accumulation of debt, both at the local government level and in the corporate sector. Managing this debt load while maintaining growth is a delicate balancing act that would challenge even the most skilled economic acrobats. So where does this leave us? Is China's dragon merely catching its breath before soaring to new heights? Or are we watching the last gasps of an economic miracle? The truth is, only time will tell. But one thing's for certain, this story is far from over, and the next chapter could rewrite the global economic playbook. What we're witnessing is not just an economic story, but a human one. It's about the hopes and dreams of 1.4 billion people, about a nation's quest to reclaim its place as a global superpower, and about the ripple effects that China's successes or failures will have on every corner of our interconnected world. Think about it. The clothes you wear, the phone in your pocket, the car you drive. Chances are China played a role in bringing these items to you. The country's economic health affects global supply chains, commodity prices, and financial markets in ways both obvious and subtle. But beyond the economic implications, there's a broader question at play. China's rise has challenged the notion that economic development inevitably leads to political liberalization. The country's unique blend of state capitalism and authoritarian governance presents an alternative model to Western liberal democracy, one that many developing nations are watching closely. As China navigates its current challenges, the world is watching to see whether this model can withstand the pressures of slowing growth and rising social expectations. Can the Communist Party maintain its legitimacy if it fails to deliver the economic prosperity it has promised? These are questions that go beyond economics, touching on issues of governance, human rights, and the very nature of progress. They're questions that we all have a stake in, regardless of where we live. So what's your take? Do you see China overcoming its current hurdles and emerging stronger than ever? Or do you think we're witnessing the beginning of a long-term decline? Perhaps you see a middle path, a China that muddles through, neither collapsing nor soaring, but adapting and evolving in ways we can't yet imagine. Whatever your view, one thing is clear, China's economic journey is far from over. The decisions made in Beijing today will ripple across the globe for years to come, affecting everything from the price of your next smartphone to the geopolitical balance of power. As we wrap up this exploration of China's economic roller coaster, let's remember that behind the statistics and stock market figures are real people. Families worrying about their futures, young graduates searching for their first job, entrepreneurs dreaming of the next big innovation. Their stories are part of a larger narrative, one of a nation striving to redefine itself and its place in the world. It's a story of ambition and challenges, of triumphs and setbacks, of a dragon learning to fly in new and unfamiliar skies. So, what happens next in this economic thriller? Will China find a way to reignite its growth engine? Can it address the deep-seated issues in its property market and financial system? Will the recent stock market rally prove to be the start of a new bull run, or just a temporary blip? These are questions that economists, politicians, and business leaders around the world are grappling with. The answers will shape not just China's future, but the global economic landscape for decades to come. As we've seen throughout this journey, China's economy is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a complex tapestry woven from historical legacy, cultural values, political ambitions, and the aspirations of over 1 billion people. The challenges China faces are formidable, but so too are its resources and resilience. This is a nation that has repeatedly defied expectations, transforming itself from an impoverished agrarian society to a global economic powerhouse in just a few decades. Yet the path forward is far from clear. The old model of investment-led growth has run its course, and the transition to a more balanced, consumption-driven economy is proving to be a bumpy ride. The property market, long a pillar of China's economic growth, is now its Achilles heel. Resolving the crisis in this sector without triggering a broader economic meltdown will require skillful management and perhaps some painful adjustments. Meanwhile, the demographic challenges loom large. China's rapidly aging population and shrinking workforce could put a drag on growth for years to come. Finding ways to boost productivity and innovation will be crucial to offsetting these headwinds. Then there's the broader geopolitical context. China's rise has altered the global balance of power, leading to increasing tensions with the United States and other nations. Navigating these choppy diplomatic waters while maintaining economic growth will be a delicate balancing act. But amidst these challenges, there are also opportunities. China's massive investments in education and technology are bearing fruit, with the country emerging as a leader in fields like artificial intelligence, renewable energy, and e-commerce. The Belt and Road Initiative, despite controversies, has the potential to create new trade routes and economic partnerships across Eurasia and beyond. If successful, it could reshape global trade patterns and cement China's role as a key player in the world economy. Moreover, China's vast domestic market remains a powerful engine for growth. As hundreds of millions of Chinese citizens join the middle class, their consumption could help drive economic growth for years to come. So as we look to the future, what can we expect? Will China's economic dragon regain its fire-breathing form, or are we witnessing the twilight of an era? The truth is, the future is never set in stone. It will be shaped by the decisions made in the corridors of power in Beijing, in the boardrooms of Chinese companies, and in the millions of households across the country. What's certain is that China's economic journey will continue to be one of the most important stories of our time. Its twists and turns will affect us all, whether we're in New York or New Delhi, London or Lagos. As we conclude this exploration, we're left with more questions than answers. But that's the nature of economics, and of China itself. It's a story that's still being written, a drama that's still unfolding. So what do you think the next chapter will bring? Will China find a way to overcome its current challenges and write a new economic success story? Or are we witnessing the end of an era? Whatever your view, one thing is clear. The saga of China's economy is far from over. It's a story that will continue to captivate, confound, and shape our world for years to come.
That's all for this episode. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button in order to stay up to date with more awesome contents ahead. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.